Hello everybody, Isabella from Priorattire here, and just a short feature today about one question that comes up quite a lot in the comments to our videos, and that question concerns these. And the question usually is, why am I wearing a hat pin, or maybe I'm not wearing a hat pin? And it all depends on the style of hair and the style of the hat. And obviously it differs quite a lot from decade to decade in the 18th century and a bit later on. So all the people who are outraged at me wearing teens fashion without a hat pin, there is a reason for that. So let us have a look and demonstrate.
Throughout the medieval times and in later centuries, simple straight pins were used on clothes and to pin the veils together, securing them to fillets, hats, etc. It was a simple, effective, and not expensive means of securing the veil to another element of the headdress. In this video we will focus on the hat pins as we know them, long, sharp pins with decorative ending, used only for the hats and not other bits of clothing.
It all sort of starts in the 18th century. We still have relatively flat hairstyles in the 30s, 40s, 50s and 60s. So not a lot of hats were worn that needed anchorage. Well, there wasn't much anchorage to start with. You have either straw hats for the sun, or you have little caps. But if you go riding, this should sit squarely on your hair. There's still nothing actually here, all the hair goes behind. And starting 60s and 70s, where the hair starts to grow, guess what? We have loads of possibilities to put all sort of hats on and pin them up. Let's have a look. 1780s. Huge hair. I'm using a wig, because obviously not my own, but it's a pin cut. Got it. But obviously women would be dressing their own hair like this. And then you have loads of stuff to pin onto, starting with a day cap, or maybe a proper hat. Let's have a look. So this can then require quite a long pin, or 2 or 3, depending on weather conditions, to go through and keep it on. Even more so when this is not big enough. And maybe you need to throw some serious shade with that. You don't need an umbrella with that, do you? Very much 80s, 90s. Loads of hair. Loads of stuff here. And a nice hat. Again, there's a pin, there's a hat, there's lots of hat to pin it to. So basically the moment the big hats come in and big hair come in, you can pin most things on because there's anchorage. Regency. Your hair is in a bun up there, sometimes a bit higher up here, and your front is curled. And have a little bonnet. This design actually stays on as it is, but can be augmented with a little pin at the base. That will really keep it on quite securely. So that's one style. Very sweet, very deceptive. And similarly, this actually doesn't need anything. It just stays put, and your hair being up there actually keeps it quite securely wedged. So if you needed to, you could, but No need. Duck face. Romantic period. Loads of hair, lots of curly extensions. Big hair here as well, either coiled or within a polo knot. So that keeps the bonnets quite securely on. Very often with a little cap. And I like my frilly caps. Let's have a look. Where is it? Ta-da! Not very even here, there you go. The hair goes here and it stays there. What a crazy style, eh? My goodness. Lovely hat though. And 40s bonnet change. A bit more elongated shape, a little buffalo here. So the hair is still inside, or can rest just underneath here. So pins here, not strictly necessary, but they do help and I do use them for this style. 50s. With a spoon bonnet, you've got the hair a little bit lower. And this one sits quite nicely. There you go. It's quite secure. All the hair is covered. You can go and dance. Yeah, it works. The only reason you would be using hat pins in that time would be if you are going riding, for example, because a riding hat is a little bit different. So you do need to secure it somehow. You can run it on your head, but depends how fast you want to go. 70s and early 80s. You have a big headpiece there, loads of space and lots of possibilities to put a little percher hat on. And that's where the pin would go in and attach very nicely. So you have loads of hair to keep it on. So let's have a look at the 85. Little cute bonnet. And obviously the hairstyle is exactly for that kind of style. And yes, you do need a pin to go all through that, so it stays on. You do have bonnets like these ones with ribbons, but obviously that's not going to keep it on. So that's where the head pin is, and obviously you have hair to get the hat pin on. The same bow that started to be used at that time. You can wedge a bow tie quite nicely under your braid, but still, if it's very windy, you would need a little bit more support there. '90s hair. Lots of ringlets and an updo. Hair here, and lots of space to put your hat on. That's not bad. And these we would need two quite long pins to come through the hat, through the hair, and come out on the other side. And the same with the other side. The same idea works for slightly later, early Edwardian style, when you have a top knot, like in the photo I'm going to show in a second. Again, you have something to anchor the pin to. Big hat. '03. Early Edwardian hat. Hair in Gibson hairstyle and a knot on the top of the head, so pins can go right in. And then comes the teens really, when the style changes again and the hair is worn at the nape of the neck, very low. So really difficult to pin anything to that. And obviously we start getting hair being cut shorter, so at that time the hats would fit your hair and are worn just like this boat, lower down. No need for the pin. And even if you wanted one, where do you put it? You know, through your brain? Might do some good, you never know. There's just nothing to anchor the hat apart from the skull really. So there you go. That's one on photos like these ones you will see in a second. There's no hat pins. Handy little weapon too. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. My apologies for a very rushed hairstyle and sort of half an hour of filming. But that should answer some questions. Thank you for watching. 1914 style, from the teens video that inspired most of the pin questions.